Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. If you've been here before, welcome back. I love having you here. Boys and girls, that's right. We are talking about that oh-so-famous Jets quarterback. Well, not Jets quarterback. Almost Jets quarterback. Possibly Jets quarterback. Hopefully Jets quarterback. That's right. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers and a clip from Mike Greenberg, who appeared on the Pat McAfee show today, or yesterday, discussing the Green Bay Packers situation with the New York Jets, and he dropped a really interesting soundbite that I want to get into. So let's listen to the clip, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Yes, here's and AJ, obviously, I would defer to anything you know, but I can tell you what I've heard. I've heard that Aaron has sent signals to the Jets that there's no reason for them to rush, that he's not coming until May anyway. So they're not missing out on anything right now. So they should hold out as long as it takes, and that ultimately they won't wind up having to trade the 13th pick in the draft, which is what I think this ultimately comes down to. Again, if I'm saying something, AJ, that you think is totally wrong, let me know.
AJ.
But I think that this is all about the Jets wanting to draft an offensive tackle at 13 and Aaron Rodgers wanting them to draft an offensive tackle at 13, which I would want too if I was Aaron Rodgers. And they will just hold out until the draft, and they think the Packers will eventually say, okay, we'll take slightly less than we want because we want pieces to put around or in front of Jordan Love this year, not wait until next year.
So that's interesting wording, right? Like, it's not an exact story from Mike Greenberg, but I've heard that Aaron Rodgers has sent signals to the New York Jets that he's not even coming until May, so the Jets are going to be able to use their draft picks this year and don't have any pressure. That could be why Joe Douglas was sitting back at the owners' meeting, Robert Saleh sitting back at the owners' meeting, just talking about, hey, we're optimistic it's going to get done. We're not concerned at all. They have, would you be concerned if this went into training camp? Hey, the guy that is coming in that knows the system may not necessarily need a full training camp. Like, we're more than comfortable waiting here. This type of situation, or maybe a story that's coming from Mike Greenberg, I think would absolutely give the Jets a ton of confidence. Now, as far as is this colluding Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jets, I think it's entirely possible. I don't know if it's probable, but I would say it's entirely possible. I think if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm trying to win a ring, and you had that discussion with Aaron Rodgers out in California, the New York Jets brass and everything, and they say, hey, don't worry about it. Don't trade away these picks. I want you to draft the tackle because seeing what you guys have, we need a little bit of offensive line help, and I don't want my blind side getting blasted. So take the tackle at 13. Don't even make a trade until May because I'm not going to show up anyway. Now, there is some truth to that as far as the Rodgers not showing up. My understanding, he hasn't showed up in like April for quite some time. So I don't know if this is any sort of big leap that they're going off of here. But yeah, I've been saying this for the last few weeks. I think the New York Jets should not even entertain trading any picks in 2023. And I know that sounds crazy, and I've had people ripping me in the comments about this. But if I'm the New York Jets and I'm the Green Bay Packers, and you're trying to figure out, okay, who wants picks by the draft? Possibly the Packers. The Packers do have 10 picks this year, so they don't necessarily need to have the picks this season. But if there's any pressure, it's trying to get the trade done before the draft so you can add another piece, like Greenberg says, to surround Jordan Love with some extra talent so that way you get an extra, player to help evaluate that young quarterback that you are exercising his fifth-year option on in May of this year. So I get that side of things, but from the Jets' perspective, like, if I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come here, and let alone if I know he's saying, don't worry, it will happen at some point, then I'm feeling real confident, and I'm saying, well, I'm going to use every single one of my draft picks in 2023 to surround Aaron Rodgers with all this talent. And Green Bay, if you want to make a trade before then, you have to provide a trade package more attractive to me than using all my picks on draft picks or players to surround Aaron Rodgers. And I don't know if the Packers can necessarily put together a trade package that's more attractive than what the Jets could possibly do with trading away or getting this whole package of picks or using all their picks this year. To me, surrounding him with talent is far more important than getting the trade done now before the draft, because I do think it's going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is going to get paid $60 million this year by someone. No team who he says he's not that he's not going to go for, but if he says, like, the only team I'm playing for is the Jets, No other team's going to trade for a $60 million quarterback and have all that dead cap and have a disgruntled quarterback on their team. So the option's going to wind up being Green Bay. How much are you willing to let Rodgers sit on the bench? Are you going to pay him $60 million to sit there? David Bakhtiari apparently thinks that could be a potential option, which is absolutely banana land. There's no way the Packers are going to pay Aaron Rodgers $60 million to sit on the bench, because if they do that, that means there's no shot of them extending Jordan Love. That would be a monster dead cap hit by the time Aaron Rodgers retires, which is another kind of piece to this whole puzzle. Could Aaron Rodgers retire and then unretire closer to the season and cause a whole shitstorm of stuff going on? I don't know how that works out. I really think the Jets have this locked down. Now, I did see this tweet per Charles Robinson. Packers are willing to do the pick protection in 2025 if Rodgers retires after the 2024 season, but they want to straight up guarantee the 2024 first, no conditions, and the 2023 second. Jets are holding firm they don't want to do that. He later says the Packers and Jets pretty much had parameters set on a trade, but the Pat McAfee appearance and the 90% retired quote scared Woody Johnson. Appears that Rodgers, quote, might have actually given the Jets additional leverage in these negotiations. So let's break this down just a little bit here, because the first part of this is the Packers are willing to throw in the 2025 conditional pick in case Rodgers retires in 2024, but they want a guaranteed first in 2024, or sorry, the pick protection in 2025, but they want the guaranteed first in 2024, along with a second round pick in 2023. If I'm the New York Jets, I'm saying, yeah, okay, we can wait. That's fine. Like, I don't want to give you, I don't mind that 2024 first being conditional based on Rodgers' performance, but if you want a guaranteed first in 2024, why do I have any sort of reasoning to make this move before the draft? It's kind of what I was saying before. Just sit on your picks, offer the 2024 first after the draft, and then have a conditional pick beyond that. There's no reason for the Jets to try and do this. And then you go into this top part here, and the 90% retired. The Jets had some parameters worked out with the Packers, but the 90% retired scared Woody Johnson. No, it didn't. There's no way it did. And I've played the clip before. Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show before he went into the darkness. And he was saying, the Green Bay Packers are having some discussions without me, which is concerning, or is interesting, I think was the term that he wound up using, which tells me he knew going into the darkness that they were already talking about moving on from him. So when he says he came out of the darkness 90% retired, and then he heard all these rumors that they wanted to trade him, I think he's so full of shit. I can see it in his eyes. And I love me some Aaron Rodgers, but I'm not buying this for a second. I 100% think he's using that 90% retired and the thought that the Packers were looking to move on from him as ammunition and motivation to just be all sorts of pissed off and play really friggin' electric. And I love it. I want this to be the case. There's nothing more that I want than for the Packers to piss off Aaron Rodgers so much that he has a monster-sized chip on his shoulder, and he's coming back to our offensive coordinator. The last time he was pissed off at the Green Bay Packers, he won back-to-back MVPs. The last time Aaron Rodgers had a top 10 defense, he won a Super Bowl. The New York Jets were top 5 in defense last year. I'm all sorts of fired up. I love this. For me, look, I think the Jets do have leverage right now. You do not have to make this trade happen before the draft. You can wait till after the draft. You absolutely run the risk of the Packers being pissed off and holding out into training camp, but I think you're playing a little bit of chicken here as far as how long are they going to force Aaron Rodgers to stay on the Packers when Jordan Love clearly does not. He wants to start. He wants this whole thing behind him. I think Rodgers wants this whole thing behind him. And to me, if I'm Aaron Rodgers and they're going to hold on to me, I'm going to show up to every single voluntary workout, every single practice, every single thing, and I'm going to make things really friggin' awkward for the Green Bay Packers, where I'm going to try and force my hand. And the Packers may say, okay, look, we'll deal with it because we think we can get more from the Jets as we get closer and closer and closer and closer. And like, worst case scenario, he knows the offense already. He's played with Lazard already. And there's nothing stopping Aaron Rodgers having these players out to some West Coast camp in California. I've already heard rumors that Zach Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are talking consistently, working on Jets West or whatever that camp's going to be. So I really like this. I think the Jets are in a fine position. Do I think it's collusion? Maybe to an extent. I don't I think it's just smart GMing. Like, I don't have any inside knowledge to anything going on inside the New York Jets or these Aaron Rodgers talks or anything like that. And I've been saying for weeks, damn near a month at this point, that the Jets should not make a trade before the NFL draft unless the Packers offer something that is too valuable or is more valuable than using your own picks on players to surround Aaron Rodgers. So maybe I'm off my rocker here and I'm not seeing things clearly, but I think the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers are going to wind up getting the better end of the deal in this trade. And I do want to see it done, but I'm more than happy sitting and waiting, just trying to see where this all plays out, because I do think at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers is going to be a New York Jet, and the Jets are going to have a absolutely monster season this year. So guys, let me know what you think. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is colluding with the New York Jets? Do you think there's anything to that little bit of a story that Greenberg was talking about over on the Pat McAfee show? Do you think that he winds up getting traded to the Jets before the draft, after the draft? What winds up happening? Could it happen on Hard Knocks when the Jets wind up getting that? I think that is entirely possible. Roscoe Diner Part 2, baby. Let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, go Jets.